Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Burke. I'm one of the school counselors at Batesville High School, and I'll be presenting to you the Sophomore Parent Scheduling Night presentation that was reviewed on Monday, January 25th. The information that you're going to receive tonight is the same information that your students received last week in their SRT scheduling presentation. However, we go into a little bit more detail because we know all of this information is new to everyone, and sometimes it's the first time that you're hearing it. Sophomore scheduling for junior year is very much different than it was for freshman and sophomore year scheduling. The scheduling opportunities that upperclassmen have in comparison to underclassmen vary differently, and they have a lot more freedom with their schedule. So we're going to review those upperclassmen opportunities that your son or daughter can take part in that they weren't able to do so their freshman and sophomore year. Some of those opportunities are Ivy Tech, our co-op programs, the Career Center, all things that they're able to maybe stay on campus and take part in or go off campus and take part in as an upperclassman. To get started, the agenda for tonight, we're going to review the scheduling process. The schedule request forms that your son or daughter would have received last week in SRT are due back on February 19th. We do have extra scheduling forms in the guidance office that they can pick up a hard copy of. And also all of the documents are electronic on the website if you'd like to print off any at home or make one fillable to save on your computer. Example forms are in the slides as well. We'll review later on in the presentation. SRT visits are something new that we've added this year because of COVID. In the past, we've set up scheduling question tables in the cafeteria or in our commons area, and students have been able to just come freely and line up and ask their scheduling questions during those times. However, to be a little bit more strategic this year and limit the amount of students that we're in contact with or gathered around us, we are going to be going into SRTs at a designated times for each student's SRT. This actually starts January 26th, so Tuesday is our first SRT that will be in classrooms, and we will be in classrooms for the next 3 weeks. So we encourage your son or daughter to send their scheduling questions to us when we come into the room. We'll also take any Canvas message. We encourage those. Canvas messages are encouraged to ask questions. Students know that as well. And we also will be in the cafeteria more frequently than normal for students to ask questions as we're just walking around in their lunchtime. Something that it will be new to your student this school year, because they did not get to take part in it last year due to the shutdown and school closures and going virtually, are the one-on-one scheduling meetings. Each year, we like to meet with every student in 9th through 11th grade in a one-on-one setting after they've submitted their schedule request form. During those one-on-one meetings, which usually occur in late April before the schedules are finalized for the summer, in May, we meet with every student one-on-one and review their diploma type goals, the classes that they've written down, and make sure that they all match up with what their end goal is to be when they graduate from high school, whether it's an Ivy Tech goal or just a Batesville High School goal. Final schedules are due in May and do require a parent signature. So the request form that they're working on right now does not require a parent signature, but the final schedule and what you will need to sign that so that you have some type of awareness to what they signed up to take for their next school year. The curriculum guide is now available on the high school's website for 21-22 school year. ISTEP versus grad pathway information will be reviewed. New course options for the 21-22 school year will be reviewed. And then, of course, the main topic of tonight, upperclassmen opportunities. This next slide is an example of the schedule request form that your son or daughter would have received last week. The first 4 lines are somewhat filled out for them. As juniors, they do have a choice in their English class. So as underclassmen, they either took English 9 or English 9 pre-AP. And then this year as a sophomore, they either took English 10 or English 10 pre-AP. However, as juniors and seniors, the only year-long English class that we have available to students is AP Literature and Composition. Outside of AP Literature, the other English classes are just semester-based courses. Some of those include creative writing, debate, mythology. We have set about 8 different courses, and they're all 1 semester long. So your student will have a different English course each semester of their junior and senior year. All juniors take U.S. history. Algebra 2 is the standard math course that most juniors will be ready to take. However, if they already took Algebra 2 as a sophomore, then their next math course options would be pre-calculus, finite, or AP statistics. Science, the junior year is the 3rd science course requirement, and that could be any science of their choice. Freshman year, they had to take biology. Sophomore year, students had to take chemistry, physics, or ICP. Junior year, they're available to open up to any other science class of their choice. We will have some students that may be doubled up on science during their sophomore year because that's the class subject that interests them, and that's fine. And if that's the case, then they do not have to write a science down for junior year, and they can move on to another elective of their choice. Numbers 5, 6, and 7 are left blank, and students can choose any electives of their choice that match their diploma type goals, their Ivy Tech goals that they might have, or just courses that interest them. The alternates are for courses that, just in case they can't get into their first choice that they've listed on numbers 1 through 7, an alternate is nice to know is what their backup plan can be in case a course, for some reason, gets canceled, or if a course just doesn't fit into the layout of their schedule. We have a backup option. Like I said earlier, the curriculum guide is now posted on the Batesville High School website, which is linked here in this slide. So if you go to the Batesville High School website, in the center of the screen, you're going to see several different tabs. If you click on the Guidance tab, there's going to be a drop-down menu. From there, you click on Scheduling, and the first link you will find will be the curriculum guide. This guide is going to have all the scheduling policies, schedule change policies, diploma types, course descriptions and prerequisite grade level requirements, things of that nature for every course that we offer. The ISTEP versus graduation pathway. So as you may have heard us talk about before, the ISTEP is going away for the high school level students, and instead they're now going to be completing a graduation pathway, which we are also tracking at the high school level in the guidance office. The ISTEP used to be a graduation requirement and still currently is for our class of 2021 and our class of 2022. However, for the class of 2023, your students as sophomores, they are the first graduating class that will not have to take the ISTEP and instead will have to complete a graduation pathway. The graduation pathway has 3 boxes that the students have to meet before graduation or upon graduation. Box 1 is the easiest one because we're making sure that they're on track for a diploma type. So as long as your student earns any of the high school diplomas, they're going to meet box 1. Box 2 and 3, they really haven't been able to prepare much for until the end of sophomore year when we're planning for junior and senior year schedules. Box 2, students have to earn some type of employability skills, and how to do that at Batesville High School is by taking Mentorship or Cadet teaching, also known as Education Professions, Human Social Services, so that Cadet teaching course where you're out in the community working in one of our school corporations buildings. The Career Center or one of the co-op program. So any of those opportunities, at least 1 credit and one of those options will meet box 2. Box 3, students have to have post-secondary readiness skills. There's 8 different ways that a Batesville High School student can meet box 3. Some of those ways are listed down below. So if your son or daughter is already actively working towards an academic or a technical honors diploma, then they're on their way to meeting box 3. ACT, SAT benchmark scores is also another way. Taking the ASVAB, which is given by the military here at the high school twice a year, is also another great way. Earning dual credits from Ivy Tech or being a career technical education concentrator, usually by going to the Career Center, is another way to meet box 3. Mrs. Steinkamp is actually tracking the graduation pathway students that our current juniors and seniors that may have had this option. And just out of curiosity, we'd like to know how many of our students, even if they do not need the grad pathway option as a junior or senior, how close are they to meeting grad pathways, so we know what to expect of our students that are our sophomores and freshmen and have to meet this option. So the current junior class, to use them as an example, has 173 students, and of those 173 students, we have 75 students who have already checked box 3 because they took at least 3 dual credit classes first semester of their junior year. We are assuming that number will skyrocket close to almost the entire class after their 6th semester of high school. So 2nd semester of their junior year, we'll continue tracking them. So we will make sure that your sophomores are on track for their diploma as well as a graduation pathway as we work through their 4 years of high school. New course offerings for next year. We are adding AP Spanish. So we currently have Spanish 4, and with lots of requests from students and willingness from our teacher, AP Spanish will be added next year, and the asterisk next to it just indicates that, as a reminder, that AP courses can lead to dual credit based off of an AP exam score. So we do have several AP courses, and I'll review those a little bit later on in the presentation. One of the new junior senior level English classes that we're adding for next year, again just 1 semester base, is called Expository Writing. It is replacing the Genres of Literature English class. IT courses for next school year. We have 8 elective course options that students can choose from, ranging from hardware and software support to customer service, help desk support. There's some certifications that are built into those courses if they were to complete all 8. I have in notations there that there's no co-op requirement. In the past, these IT courses were only open to our co-op students. However, that portion is now no longer a requirement, and students are able to take any of the 8 elective IT courses, even if they do not have the co-op. We are adding Ag Power II for any students interested in the agriculture courses with Mrs. Walpe. She's had Ag Power 1 for several years now, and with requests from students and Mrs. Walpe's desire to teach it, we have added Ag Power 2. ENGL 215 is English 215, an Ivy Tech course. The actual title is Rhetoric and Arguments. We have added this course virtually for this current school year that we're in, and we've decided to add it and open it up to more students for next school year. The primary reason being is that it's a required English class for all associate's degrees from Ivy Tech, and we're having more and more students want to earn an associate's degree while they're in high school, so we needed to get this course added as an offering. Applied Music is also a new course next year. It's actually taking the place of the current class that we have in the music department called Songwriting. So Applied Music, our intentions are to have a general music, general instrument type course for students that may be interested in music, but they're not a band student or a choir student necessarily. It can be anyone. And again, just a reminder about the English. This is not new to BHS, but new to your students as rising juniors. English choices are semester-based, except for the AP Literature. Analytical Algebra II. This course was new to Batesville High School, actually new to the state of Indiana in the 1920 school year. It was developed after students who had a difficult time passing Algebra 1 and geometry, and then putting them in regular Algebra 2, they just weren't very successful all the time. So this is like a less rigorous version of Algebra 2. It's non-STEM interested students, so if your son or daughter is a science, math, engineering minded student, they would not be in line to take Analytical Algebra 2. They should do regular Algebra 2. It is a Core 40 math. It does count for Core 40, but it could possibly have some college limitations, and we haven't seen that hugely. The main thing, we've had maybe some colleges say that students need to take another math class when they are in college, depending on their major. It's not prevented a student from getting accepted to a college, though. Finite math would be the next in sequence. If you look at the top of the slide, the sequence, depending on what Algebra 2 course you took. If you take regular Algebra 2, that prepares you to take pre-calculus or finite, which could lead to calculus from pre-cal. If you decide to go the route of Analytical Algebra II, the next math in line, if you choose to continue on, would be finite. Analytical Algebra II would not prepare students to go on to pre-calculus. Upperclassmen new to you opportunities. So the fun stuff here that students have not been able to take part in as a freshman and sophomore, but can as a junior and senior. The advanced placement courses, a mentorship, Margaret Mary Health, and other community partners. We'll talk more about those opportunities a little later on. Human and social services, which is also known as cadet teaching, or you will hear kids call it cadet teaching. Career center information. Ivy Tech co-ops, we have 2 different pathways, health co-ops and manufacturing. Dual credit, dual enrollment courses and what those terms mean. The Ivy Tech STGEC and what that mouthful is and what it's changing to be in the future. And associate's degree planning. Those are the next part of the presentation, what we'll be reviewing. So dual credit and dual enrollment. Dual credit is our Ivy Tech courses that students get college credit and high school credit for, but they're taught on the Batesville High School campus by a Batesville High School teacher that's credentialed through Ivy Tech. Dual enrollment classes are Ivy Tech courses that are high school and college credit. However, they're taught off campus by an Ivy Tech instructor. So that's the main difference when you hear dual credit or dual enrollment. When you're looking in the curriculum guide at different courses, you will also see next to each Ivy Tech course whether it's dual credit or dual enrollment, so you know where it's taught and what campus it's located on. Dual credits are awarded for Ivy Tech class based off of the type of class that it is. For the most part, Ivy Tech dual credits are 3 credit hours. We do have a few that might be 4 credit hours, and there's even one out there that's 1 credit hour. But for the majority are going to be 3 college credits, and all of them will always be, if they're a semester long or 8 weeks long, 1 credit at the high school level. Students are transported back and forth to Ivy Tech on an Ivy Tech bus if necessary. They have the ability to drive themselves, then they're fine to drive with parent approval to drive themselves back and forth to Ivy Tech or carpool with a friend. However, we will provide transportation to and from a co-op or an Ivy Tech off-campus class. There is one exception with off-campus Ivy Tech classes, transportation. If the class fell during a B1 or a W1 time frame, that first class of the day, then there would not be transportation from the high school possible due to our bus drivers being out on their normal routes. Ivy Tech does not always follow the same academic calendar as Batesville High School. This year, we did get a little lucky for this current academic year, and the spring breaks line up nicely for this school year. It's not always the case, so we like to point that out for students and parents. So if there's ever a break that doesn't line up with when your student's off at Batesville High School, they are expected to still, one, stay on top of their work at Ivy Tech, attend class if at all possible, and they're still locally in town and not on a vacation. And if they happen to be on vacation, then they need to act as a college student and notify their professor. That way they can get their work and make arrangements ahead of time with that professor. So same thing goes with weather. If Ivy Tech is in session, then students are expected to be there if BHS is in session. However, if Batesville High School closes due to weather and Ivy Tech is in-person sessions, then they would not be expected to attend those in-person Ivy Tech classes due to the road conditions. However, during this school year, since all of Ivy Tech is virtual, if we had a snow day, students would still be expected to log in and attend their virtual class if possible. Some high schools that are in this region allow students to drop their dual credit or dual enrollment class and withdraw the grade from their Ivy Tech transcript and just get out of the course altogether if things aren't going well, which is what a traditional college student would be able to do. However, since Batesville High School covers the tuition of all Ivy Tech classes for students, which is unique. I'm not sure that any other school in the state does that. We do not allow students to withdraw from the grade. We treat an Ivy Tech class the same as we would treat a Batesville High School course. So if they're in the class, they're in it for the semester. They're not allowed to withdraw it or edit their transcript in any way due to not liking the course or feeling like they aren't going to do well in the course. A grade of a D or higher will get you Ivy Tech and high school credit. You will be awarded the dual credit for the D. However, how that could impact you, since the students is working towards building their Ivy Tech transcript and their high school transcript at the same time, they would have a D on their college transcript that they're building. I'm going to use anatomy as an example. If they get a D in an anatomy class and they think that the major that they're going to have in college is going to require anatomy, that D is not going to transfer over as anatomy, and they would have to retake it, although they earned the credit in it. So that's the one piece. So we always want to work towards C's and higher at the Ivy Tech level. One thing to note is that when we receive grades from Ivy Tech for a dual enrollment class that's taught by their instructors, we do transfer the grade back to the high school transcript in percent form. Ivy Tech does not use pluses or minuses, so we always take the percent back so we can help give the students the best grade possible on their high school transcript. AP courses and exams. So we have 4 AP courses for next school year. AP Literature, Statistics, Chemistry, and Spanish. And what is in parentheses next to each of those courses are the corresponding dual credit courses at Ivy Tech. So students are able to take the exam, or they're actually required to take the exam if they're in the AP course, at the end of each school year. So in May, the spring of every year, students who are in an AP course, they take the exam. If the scale is on a range from 0 to 5 for scoring, if they score a 3, 4, or 5 on an AP exam, then they would earn the Ivy Tech dual credit that's listed in parentheses. Students are also able to take a corresponding AP exam for an Ivy Tech dual credit course. It's very rare that would occur, but it is possible if for some reason the student would like to take an AP exam for a dual credit course. AP exam fees are approximately around $100, really close to $100. I want to say maybe $89 off the top of my head, but they are covered by Batesville High School, no cost to the students. Mentorship and Human and Social Services 1, which is also the cadet teaching. So mentorship and cadet teaching are open up to new for juniors and seniors, and they weren't able to do that during freshman and sophomore year. Mentorship and cadet teaching are considered a class. There is assignments that they will have to do. They'll have to take logs on their attendance at the business or at the school site. They will get a credit and a grade for each of the classes. Mrs. Martini is the business teacher here at the high school, and she oversees the mentorship program. The Margaret Mary Mentorship does have an application process. So what I've always tell students is that when they fill out their schedule request form, that they should be sure to notate on their schedule request that this is a Margaret Mary Mentorship, so I can get them that application as soon as it becomes available from Margaret Mary. For cadet teaching, there is not an application process. It is through Mrs. Hartman in the FACS department. Students are able to explore education with any classroom setting that they prefer, as long as the teacher is willing to accept them. So Batesville School Corporation, think of as a whole, and any teacher in the corporation, and sometimes even students like to go to St. Louis. This is a great opportunity, and students are able to work towards that Box 2 and Box 3 goals with these classes. The Career Center, there's lots of different opportunities at the Career Center. Unfortunately, this year we did not get to take the sophomores on a Career Center tour. However, there is a Career Center presentation that should be posted on our website soon that your students did get to see last week during SRT. It was a presentation from a Career Center representative with lots of details and videos of our students and other Career Center students talking about their experience in the range of programs from the Career Center. There are a lot of dual credits and certifications tied into these Career Center opportunities that can help students get technical honors diploma as well as meet those box 2 and box 3 requirements of the graduation pathways. So if any students interested in the Career Center, we've told them that they should set up in a meeting with Mrs. Steinkamp so she can help them work out their schedule. This is needed and really will be help clear the water for students when they're working on their schedule forms. If you think back to what that request form looks like, those numbers 1 through 7, the Career Center actually takes up spots 4 through 7 on each semester. So it's nice to sit down with a counselor and see how you're going to fit everything in just those 3 spots that you have left as a junior or a senior, and what that's going to look like for your diploma type. Mrs. Steinkamp did send out an electronic or a Google form, I guess you would say, link to students in Canvas, and that is the Career Center application for next school year. So students that are interested should fill out that application, lock in their spot for the program they're interested in, and then get with Mrs. Steinkamp on to set up their schedule meeting. So Ivy Tech information. So we work very closely with Ivy Tech in and out of the school. Mrs. Hardebeck from Ivy Tech is a close contact at Batesville High School, and she is in the building frequently speaking to the students. She actually spoke to the students last week about information regarding Ivy Tech, and she'll be here throughout all the SRT visits over the course of the next 3 weeks. So just a quick review again, and since this might be the first time you're hearing this verbiage, dual credit versus dual enrollment and AP. Dual credit, again, is taught at the Batesville High School by a Batesville High School credentialed teacher. There's no cost to the high school student, and there's no tuition, no textbook fees. Dual enrollment is a course taught off campus at Ivy Tech by an Ivy Tech instructor, and students actually physically leave the building for the dual enrollment courses. These are also no tuition costs to Batesville High School students. There are occasional textbook fees. The advanced placement courses are the 4 AP classes that we reviewed earlier, and here is noted that you need that 3, 4, or 5 on an AP exam in order to get the dual credit. Dual credit self-registration. So as we have transitioned more paperless with Ivy Tech this current school year, students who are in a dual credit course on campus, they have to register through something called dualenroll.com. And it's confusing with the dual enroll versus dual enrollment, dual credit, but dual credit students, so if they're taking a course with an Ivy Tech, with a Batesville High School teacher, they will register for their dual credit in class with their teacher through a system called dualenroll.com. They can also do this at home. The teacher will help get them started. They just can't not get very far into the registration without their social security number. So if they do not have that memorized, then when the teacher talks about this in their dual credit course, they can come home and do it at home as well, so they're not carrying around their social security number written down on something. Prerequisites for Ivy Tech courses. Many of the dual credit courses have prerequisites to earn college credit. Those prerequisites, we tell kids at this point when they're scheduling, don't be too concerned with the prerequisites as far as do you qualify to take the course. You need to be concerned with the prerequisite as does this course come before this one, but if you're qualified to take it, will come later. For now, let us know what you want to take, and then we'll review all of your scores and your GPA to see if you're ready to take it. Some prerequisites that we can use to see if students are ready to take an Ivy Tech course are listed here in the slide. PSAT, SAT, ACT. Their GPA would need to be a 2.6 or higher at the end of their sophomore year to go into dual credit classes. If they haven't met one of those prerequisites for standardized scores, there is a test. It's listed here as the AccuPlacer test, but the name's actually changing to be a knowledge assessment test, and it is Ivy Tech's version of a college placement exam. So students can take that, and many of them will need to in order to qualify to get into a dual credit course during junior year. Students can request a transcript when it's time to transfer those credits, and they will actually not even need to do that until the end of their senior year. So right now we're working with our current seniors, and when their transcript is final, about a week after high school graduation, all of their Ivy Tech classes that they took with us and with Ivy Tech will be listed on their transcript. Students can always access an unofficial copy of their Ivy Tech transcripts, so even as an underclassman. So if your son or daughter has taken a Project Lead the Way or an agriculture course that was for dual credit, they've already started an Ivy Tech transcript, and they should have access to an unofficial copy if that was something you'd like to check out. Ivy Tech completion opportunities. So starting from the bottom up on this slide, so certificates that we have available that are approximately 15 credit hours. We have several through the co-op programs, whether it's the health, manufacturing, or taking some of those IT course electives that are no longer paired with the co-op could place a student on track to earn a certificate. 15 credit hours would be approximately 5 courses. We also have technical certificates, where this is also where the Core 30 or the Indiana College Core Certificate comes into play. So that chunk of 30 college credits completed while you're in high school in certain categories specific towards the certificate would then transfer over to a college as your freshman year. And we'll go into more detail about that a little later on. And then an associate's degree option. Last school year, we had about 6 or 8 students finish high school with an associate's degree from Ivy Tech. However, this school year, we're on track to have 12 more. And just speaking out of the current sophomores and juniors now planning for their next school year schedule, I have about 38 students that I will be meeting with over the course of the next 2 weeks to schedule their plans to earn an associate's degree while they're in high school. The Ivy Tech co-op programs, this is a great networking experience, great 2-year or 1-year job interview depending on what pathways students decide to take. We have the manufacturing co-op, the CNA co-op, and phlebotomy co-op. The nursing interest is not necessarily a co-op, but just some courses that might push students on the path of a nursing interest if they really are not interested in doing the CNA phlebotomy and just getting some nursing classes out of the way. These all help prepare them for their workforce and get Ivy Tech credentials, certifications, make them more employable. The Indiana College Core is what you'll probably hear your students calling the Core 30. The name just actually changed last week, so it's now the Indiana College Core. These are that bulk of 30 credits, so essentially 10 courses, one from each category, and those categories I'll share with you on the next slide. If a student earns this Indiana College Core Certificate while in high school, it is mandated by legislation to transfer to any public college or university in the state of Indiana. And there's a list of about 14 colleges that they're mandated to go to. However, they are highly likely to transfer to other colleges and universities across the state, out of state, tri-state area, public and private. Mrs. Hardebeck speaks often about how classes have been known to transfer to Xavier, Butler, UC, NKU, University of Louisville. We've had students that go to Florida, California, and report back that their credits did transfer. Because of them being general core elective courses, they're highly transferable to any college. These are dual credit and dual enrollment courses that are fit into this core certificate. AP courses do factor in as well, and those are listed on the breakdown in the next slide. This primarily begins junior and senior year of high school. I say primarily just because of the AP course offerings. We do have an occasional sophomore that may have completed AP chemistry or possibly AP statistics and have some dual credit potential already under their belt. This core certificate of their 30 credits is essentially their freshman year of college completed in bulk. If they have the credits in bulk, then they transfer that way. If they, for some reason, if your student didn't get all the credits for the certificate, or maybe they get above and beyond, they get the core 30 plus an extra 10 or 15 credits, that's great too. Colleges will still transfer those credits over. The bulk credits have to go for what they are for those that fall in the public college category in the state of Indiana. A lot of times, if it's a credit that's subject specific, like maybe a criminal justice class or an anatomy class, those credits are likely to transfer. They just may count as an elective course and not as that bulk course load. With that said, this certificate alone is estimated to have an approximately $20,000 tuition savings just for this certificate. This is the Indiana College Core check sheet. So every course that we offer, dual credit, dual enrollment, and AP, that meets these boxes. And you might note that each category has a minimum amount of credits in the area. For the written and speaking category, I do want to emphasize that the composition and the speech classes are required. Those two classes are required. Both one, rhetoric and argument, is an optional course, and that's one of the new ones that we added this year. And there needs to be one from each of the other categories. So traditionally, a student would have composition, speech, one math course, one science course, at least one social behavioral, at least one humanistic and ways of knowing, and then maybe a couple extra in one of those elective option categories to finish out and get a total of 30 credits or 10 classes. Ivy Tech has a spring break course that they are going to be offering this year. Last year we had one and it went really well with them. This course is called IVYT 111. It's actually a student success and college course. It is going to be Monday, March 15th through Thursday, March 18th from 10 to 1 virtually on Zoom. So if that works out in your student's schedule, then that might be a good class for them to jump online during spring break and take part in this free 1 credit hour course. To sign up for the course, if you're interested, you do not need to follow the contact information at the bottom of this flyer. You can actually just send your son or daughter down to the guidance office. We have some hard copy registration forms that require a parent's signature to get them signed up. They can pick up one of those forms, turn it back into the guidance office, and we'll get them signed up for the Ivy Tech course. The student success course is essentially what it sounds like. It's helping students figure out what kind of learner they are, what kind of study skills are needed to be a successful college student, encourages them to think about and explore different career options and pathways they might be interested in, and just overall success course and how to be successful after high school. Ivy Tech always has scholarship opportunities that become available. The first one is the one I just reviewed with you for the spring break scholarship. Summer Exploration Scholarship, that information usually becomes available at the end of April, 1st of May, and I'll post that out as soon as Mrs. Hardebeck gets that to us. And that usually allows students to take one course, freshmen through juniors. Does not apply for seniors who are graduating, but current freshmen, sophomores, and juniors to take one course with Ivy Tech for free in the summer. That course would not be a course that would need to be or come back on your high school transcript. It would just be to build your Ivy Tech transcript or your college transcript in general and help work towards maybe the core 30, an associate's degree, or just get something out of the way because you know you need to have this when you get to college. The Chancellor Completion Scholarship is one for graduating seniors. So if we have a student that's graduating high school and they're 1 or 2 classes shy from earning that Indiana College Core, that Core 30 certificate of their freshman year completed, they're just so close but not quite there, then senior year Ivy Tech would cover the cost of 1 or 2 summer classes for them to finish out that certification. Ivy Tech calendar versus BHS calendar. So you can see the differences there for next school year, of what it looks like for our first semester dates in comparison. Ivy Tech does always start a little later than BHS school starts back, and it does end a couple days sooner for Christmas break and summer break. And as you look down, you'll see the differences of fall break, spring break as well. A little bit more on the Ivy Tech co-op. So we do have the Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering co-op that's continuing on, and the Health Careers CNA, so Certified Nursing Assistant, and Phlebotomy co-ops. These co-ops are unique to Batesville High School and just unique to the Batesville community in general. There's not a lot of other neighboring schools or even schools maybe 3-4 hours away that we found that can come up with a program similar to this, with the great networking opportunities that our community provides for our students. So the manufacturing industry and the healthcare industry has great opportunities for Batesville High School juniors and seniors. A little bit more about the manufacturing co-op. It is design or industrial engineering focused. So students would take either design technology or industrial technology courses through Ivy Tech's dual enrollment program. They could take one pathway or both. If they're interested in both, they would take design and industrial. This coursework in the lab setting at Ivy Tech is paired with work experience. So traditionally during B3 and B4, if you're familiar with the student's schedule lingo, B3 and B4, they would be at Ivy Tech taking a design technology or industrial technology dual enrollment course. And then W3 and W4 of their day, they would be out getting a work experience at one of our co-op partners. The partners that we have on board for next school year, we're planning to be Batesville Tool and Die, MedMiser, and Integrity Tool. We do have a limited amount of spots for this program. There's only 8 spots available for the manufacturing co-op, and they fill up quickly. So if students are interested in one of these co-op programs, I encourage them to make contact with me as soon as possible and meet with me to work on their schedule, because it is a different kind of schedule, like Career Center being a different kind of schedule. This is this is a great networking opportunity. The majority of our students that go into a co-op program, they are offered jobs after high school, sometimes jobs while they're in high school for after school, weekends, summer help. Many times these employers will even offer tuition reimbursement if they want to finish their coursework at Ivy Tech or another school of their choice, but yes, still work part-time for the business partner. And second year of the work experience does have potential to be paid. So senior year, a lot of times these businesses are going to pay students above minimum wage, a good working rate. The Health Careers Co-op, we have 2 different focuses, one being the CNA certification, the second being the phlebotomy certification. Ivy Tech courses are also paired with these classes for both programs. The students will finish their externships at 2 different sites. If they're a CNA path student, they'll go to St. Andrews. And if they're a phlebotomy path student, then they will attend Margaret Mary in the lab. We do have limited spots as well for the Health Careers Co-op. For CNA, we have 6 spots available and 12 spots for the phlebotomy. So I'm encouraging students to get with me as soon as possible if they're interested in taking part in one of these co-op programs. The schedule request forms are due February 19th. So as a reminder, they should turn those into the guidance office no later than February 19th, and we'll be around for questions, whether it's Canvas, in their lunchroom setting, or in their SRTs. All of our contact information is listed here on this slide too for your reference. And that is the end of my presentation for the evening. If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of one of us, send your student to school with questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching.